This is the Mystic Girl Cult, a safe space to celebrate the journey to find your most magical self. No judgment, no hate, just stardust trying to find its shape. I'm your host, Amy. Get ready to be indoctrinated into the circle. My guest today is Katelin Chesna. She is an actress and acting coach, as well as a studio manager for the Anthony Meindl Actors Workshop in Atlanta, Georgia. She is a lover of animals, her boyfriend, deep connected listening, and watching people step into becoming themselves. And if that doesn't tell you what our conversation today will be like, I don't know what to tell you. Let's get right into our conversation. Hey, Katelin.
Hi, Amy.
Thank you so much for being here. You are, I think, my first guest that didn't come from a bookstore.
Oh, wow. Right on. Cool.
Yeah. So I wanted you to come on because I think that you have such a great point of view and energy. So I met you because I went to the AMAW here in Los Angeles, and you were my acting teacher for a while.
Yes, I remember, and I loved it, man. I loved your class.
Yes, it left a lasting impact on me. One of the reasons I felt like you were such a good person to have on this podcast was because, for me, you were one of my very first introductions to the different ways you can connect spiritually to yourself, and the different ways that you can help settle yourself and find who you are in a way that's just acceptance. Do you know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean, and I love that, and I am honored. Like, honestly, I can't say it enough. I feel so grateful and honored that we did get to spend time together in that way, and that I was able to, in even the smallest way, start you on that path to yourself. Because really, that's what acting has morphed into or evolved into for me, is just a path to myself. And if I can set someone else up on the course to getting to know themselves better, then I feel really fulfilled in getting to do what I get to do.
No, you do an amazing job. And so to kind of help everyone understand where we're coming from, you started teaching about when you started doing acting coaching and teaching?
Okay, so even before I found AMAW, and for those that don't know what that is, it's Anthony Meindl's Actors Workshop. Its home base is in Los Angeles. But I started teaching even before that. But I've been a part of AMAW now for,
a while.
Gotta be probably around 7 years, because I started taking class and then was in Tony's master class for about 2 years before I started the teaching program, and then started teaching. And I've been teaching probably 5 years. So that's blows my mind.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, and I was teaching before that, but I can honestly say I did not find my true voice, I think, in acting and in coaching acting until I found AMAW and the way of working there.
Yeah, they have a very unique sense from all the other acting training that I've ever taken, which is just about immersing yourself and letting yourself go to be in that space that you're in. And so one of the things, though, when I met you, you were doing acting teaching as well as you had a bar studio and you were doing working acting and all of that. And you're just someone who's like the epitome of like, she's doing the damn thing, you know?
Like you said earlier, you try. Like, I'm trying, right?
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, that's such a cool thing. So can you tell me a little bit about what helps drive you and what keeps you working?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Well, I've always, it's even from the time I was young, and maybe part of this is because I was an only child and didn't really have anyone to bounce things off of. I was always just on that track of like, do more homework, do more projects, get extra credit, be in AP classes, overachieve, as much as I could, because I think on some level I thought that maybe my parents would love me more.
Yeah.
The basic childhood stuff of like, my mom was gone all the time and I didn't really ever see my dad. And so I think it got instilled in me really young that I can get validation if I'm constantly achieving things and doing good. And so I've always sort of been like that all through school, then college, then after college, I was pre-med all through school, and
which is crazy amazing.
It was just I was on a different track. And then somewhere in college, I was studying to take the MCAT and working at this hospital with a doctor and learning amazing things about neurology, and just really on my way to doing med school. But what happened is that I was always creatively hungry for, I guess at the time I didn't realize it was acting, because I was always in the choir and a cappella and in like the thespians club, and I was always doing those things, but I never looked at my creative outlets as something I could pursue as a career. And so college, I was bartending in downtown Chicago. I met someone that ended up, I dated him briefly. He flew me to New York, and someone right before that trip, serendipity was involved, because someone right before that trip had said, I was producing these big runway shows at this nightclub in Chicago.
Yeah.
I never slept, Amy. That's how you do it. You just don't.
You just keep pushing.
You just keep pushing. I always had this obscene internal drive.
Yes.
And but when I had that, someone put that bug in my ear. You're such a great performer when you're producing. Why don't you try performing yourself? And I would always, like I said, I do little things in school, little plays here and there, but I never took it seriously until this particular time I got flown to New York, and it was life-changing for me. And it was something on a visceral level where I'd never been to Manhattan before. I was, actually in the Four Seasons up in a penthouse where this person I was hanging out with him.
Yeah.
I just overlooked the city, overlooked Central Park South. It was just amazing. And I knew in my gut that I had to move there. And that began my journey of studying theater and acting and immersing myself in a program out there, a Meisner program, and then graduating from that and getting my first agent. And,
what time in your life was that?
That was right after college.
Okay.
Like 21, 22, something in there.
Gotcha.
And then after 3 years there and getting my feet wet and really feeling like I had at least some training under my belt.
Yeah.
I made the leap to Los Angeles again, just with a suitcase. I knew one other person that had moved to LA, but I really did not know a soul. Slept on someone's floor for a while. Did not have a car, because in New York you don't need one, but in LA you do.
Oh yeah, it's hard when you don't have a car here.
Gosh, I had to take the bus, Amy.
Oh man, I don't know how people don't get lost on those.
Man, it was. But like you said, it was like a trial by fire. I definitely, when I got to LA, I didn't care. I didn't care that I didn't have a car. I didn't care that I had to walk and take buses. I was just so overjoyed to be in a city where I felt like dreams came true.
Yeah,
and I just was so excited. And I think there's magic into being new at something because you don't have expectation. You just have awe and wonder and a determination bubbling up inside of you that I'm going to make this dream happen. That's before you get, world weary and worn out and bitter. And
yeah. It's before you understand what potential failure could be. It's when you're just like, oh wow, I did this thing, I did this, or like that love of making it before you realize all the other like things that come along with it.
Right, exactly. And I think one of the things that has kept me going, honestly, is that every time I've decided to step away from my passion, which has always been, since I discovered it, has been acting and working with other actors and storytelling. I'll just say it as storytelling. Because I enjoy writing as well. So what has kept me going is there have been times when I've actively said, I need to step away from this to see if it's what I really want. And that's when I owned the Bar Method studio in California. I think, when I first met you.
Yes.
And I realized, and that that business was wonderful, and I met incredible people, and it was, again, a way to, I was very challenged at running that business, and it stretched me way beyond my comfort zone in so many areas. So it was valuable in that sense, but why it was most valuable is because it showed me even more what I want and what I don't want in life. Because I realized, wow, I don't want to do this. This isn't what I want. I don't want to be a business owner in that way. I don't want to sit behind a desk for that many hours. I don't want to worry about bookkeeping as much as I had to worry about it. I want someone else to do that, and I want to be the creative side of things. So, including your own business, of me.
What told you that, I need to let go of this, or I need to pursue this? Like, how did you listen to that part of yourself? Like, how did you recognize it in that? So people who are trying to find what that passion is, maybe, and they can't quite admit to themselves yet that that's what it is. You know what I mean? Because people can have a lot of fear with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I did too. And there's other parts of my life where it was similar, like a long-term relationship, right? Where you stay in something, whether it be a job or a relationship. You stay in it almost for the sake of momentum because it's happening, and you've created so many enmeshments, and a big part of your identity becomes either the relationship or the job, when we are neither of those things. We are something else, right? The energy, our life energy, our spirit, our soul, if you will, whatever you want to call it, but the energy that keeps the aliveness going in our body till we take our last breath, at least in this body. We tend to identify with the things that we do or the people that we are with, as opposed to that life energy. And so what happened with me, and this is something that's always driven me, and it's a little bit ineffable. I don't always know how to language it, but I can honestly say what ended up changing things for me is it became physically painful. Like, I would just feel so internally sick and stressed and depressed and not fulfilled. And instead of there being like this little whisper of, you should do this other thing, it was more like an anchor around my heart, or around my neck, just like, this is wrong, change it as quickly as you can. And there were times also, I didn't always see that myself, like in the relationship side, when I was married for quite a long time. And it took one of my near and dear friends being very brutally honest with me and said, stop playing the victim. You have a choice in this. You don't have to stay in a relationship where you feel victimized. You're playing the role of victim. You're identifying with this part of yourself that isn't the part that I know. She's like, where's the Katelin before you got in this relationship? Where's that person? Because I want her back. And again, it was such a physical thing for me, Amy. When she said that to me, she didn't hit me. She didn't do anything physical to me. But when I heard those words, it literally felt like someone slapped me across the face with a brick. Like I just experienced it viscerally. Physically. And whenever I've had those feelings, which I guess we could call intuition or energy or
that gut feeling.
A gut feeling. And we call it that for a reason, because we experience it physiologically. It's almost like all your cells are in unison, either saying yes or saying no. Right?
Right.
And I think part of getting quiet, and having a meditation practice or a discipline around just getting quiet and being, as opposed to doing something, just being with yourself, you can start to hear those urges more, louder.
Yes.
And as time goes on, you can start to respond to those things quicker. You don't have to waste, I don't want to say waste because I learned a lot, but you don't have to take 7 years to get there or 5 years to get there. You can get there closer to when that feeling
first hits.
Yeah.
One of the things that you were great about teaching was taking time to just kind of center yourself and understand what's going on in you. And for class, it was all about doing that so you could recognize the feelings and bring that forward whenever you needed it for whatever scene you're in and being able to sink into it. But you also speak to it a lot about feeling all of your feelings and being able to recognize them, embrace them, and all of that. How did you reach the point in which you felt like you could be that honest with yourself and what you're feeling and follow it?
Yeah, I mean, definitely was a process. I think that when I was younger, and before I found acting as something that was a passion for me, I definitely, like a lot of people in society,
Hmm.
was shamed for the amount of things that I felt. I'm definitely a hyper emotional person. That's part of my hardwiring. Like
Yeah.
I think I kind of was born.
Which I think the world needs that.
Yeah, I don't, well, now that I'm in acceptance with it, I'm like, sure it does. Yeah, the world needs all of us, right? All of us, and whatever we bring to it,
Hmm.
we bring it fully, right? So when I was young, like many of us, I was conditioned and told, ladies aren't loud like that. Children are to be seen and not heard. I was definitely told I was told I was too intense by family and friends alike. You're just too much. I was too extra, right? Too much.
Hmm.
But so the process of becoming myself, and finding a space where I felt safe to explore that, like definitely AMAW was part of that safe space, where I started to realize, oh, I found my people, meaning
Hmm.
like there's a place, a sense of community and a group of people that are, instead of telling me that I'm wrong for being the way that I am, I actually can be everything that I am, and not only get accepted for it, but I will be taught how to self-validate for it, because it's useful. It's useful to feel things. And more and more and more people are coming. There's, I would say, more of a worldwide, or at least a consciousness, like
Hmm.
around that feeling, is letting ourselves experience our feelings and not shaming ourselves for them or making ourselves wrong for them.
Hmm.
That's become definitely more in the popular vernacular, even since when I started this journey. Like people like Brene Brown, who's one of my
Oh,
heroes.
she's amazing.
Yeah, like talking about shame and vulnerability. So it's not just something that actors need. I mean, actors specifically need empathy for self and others, and compassion and understanding of
Hmm.
humanity. But people in general, I think if we allowed ourselves to not make ourselves wrong for feeling things, and actually just acknowledged our feelings and asked our feelings, hey, what are you trying to show me? What are you trying to teach me? Why are you coming on so strong? And actually, like, ask our feelings, what's going on? What is this for? Instead of ignoring them,
Yep.
or shaming ourselves again, or making ourselves wrong for them. That anytime we're feeling any dis-ease or discomfort is an opportunity to transform, evolve, and learn. Right. So
Yeah, no, completely. And on a personal note, and one of the things, because I will keep reiterating the fact that I feel like you made such a big impact on my journey to feeling more comfortable in myself, is like when I started at the AMAW, it was just at the moment that I had made a decision to stop being like so nervous and to start actually pursuing what I love doing, which was, as you put it, storytelling. That's my favorite way to describe what I'm drawn to. And you and your, I'm going to call it your muchness, because you are so much of a person, was you are just so much of a person, and I was so inspired by it, because I had not had so much exposure to someone who felt so okay with being, you know, being happy, being sad, being messy, being together, and just being a person. And I thought that was so cool. And so every time we would go into class, I loved that you were so much yourself, whether it was like you were having up days or down days or whatever. It was very good for me to see at that point in my life. And so I like to let you know that I feel like one of the things that you bring to the world is showing people that you can be as much you as you are, and it's amazing. And the people who will learn from it will see it and get great things from it, and the people who don't, they just walk away.
right, and it's so, if more people, I felt, were comfortable in just being who they were,
Mm-hmm.
who they are, really. And what the cool thing is the people, like you said, that get you and are vibrating on a similar vibe as you,
Mm-hmm.
will be in your life. And then the people that aren't aren't into you, aren't vibing with you, aren't digging on you, then they won't be. And I used to take that stuff personally, but what I love about I guess, growing and being more comfortable and really learning how to love myself, right? And learning how to accept who I am without, dislike, or of course there's going to be days where like, oh, I could have done that better as a human being, that, but in general, just being more okay with who I am. Like, I feel like it's kind of what you said, you give permission to other people, even on a subconscious level, to be okay with who they are. And that way, when people walk away from your life or leave your life for whatever reason they leave your life, it's not about me, it's about them. That's their journey, and I don't have to take it personally. Yeah. And that'll be an ongoing lesson, I'm sure, till I'm gone. But it definitely, I've had to learn that when people don't get me, right, or I'm too much for them or too intense or whatever the word they want to use, that's fine. That's okay, because the people that get me, they'll be in my life, and the people that don't won't. And either way, it's fine.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed from you and learned from you is that you are really good about, taking that time to like embrace your feelings and feel and all of that. So how do you deal with taking care of it and making sure that you keep yourself okay in the midst of everything that goes on?
Yeah, that's a great question, Amy, because I think, as when I talk to actors and I speak to actors, there's so many times where actors get, involved in working on projects where they have to feel a lot. And the camera can pick up if you're being honest or if you're not being honest, right?
Exactly.
Right. So in order for, I'll just use acting, since that's what I'm involved in the most. It's like, if we need to be able to feel on the drop of a dime, right? If a certain role is evoking out of us anger or fear or sadness or betrayal, as a human being, I have to allow myself to feel those things if I'm going to bring them honestly into a story and it not look, like BS, right? So I think self-care is so important, and that can take so many different forms, right? And I think that that's a journey to yourself. How do I take care of me so that when I need to break down, hypothetically, because my twins just died, right? And I had an audition recently where that's exactly what happened. And it was like, the notes in the audition were, as soon as the camera starts rolling, you have to be in the breakdown. I'm like, awesome. So you can't BS your way through that.
No.
They want to see real tears. They want to see a woman, literally her whole life being pulled out from underneath of her, right? So for me, if I want to be able to let myself go to those dark places, that also means that I have to be able to, when that audition or that role is complete, find in myself a way to heal and feel good again. So again, self-care can be so many different things for so many different people. For me, some of the things, I love working out. I think you know that about me from before.
I do indeed.
Yeah, fitness is a big part of my life. It always has been. It's a great way for me to raise my endorphins, clear my head, take deep breaths, because breath is everything, and it changes the moment. As soon as you're in your body, whether it be just go for a walk, if you go out in nature, anywhere you can move your body, it's going to start to transform any negative energy. It's going to transform it into something else.
Yeah.
If you're going to lift heavy objects, you're going to have to put that energy
into
lifting heavy objects, right? So it's a very kinesthetic way that I think, and then the benefit is you get healthier, or your muscles get stronger. All those good things come out of that. But also animals. I mean, I've been an animal lover since I was little, and I think animals are present. They're always in the moment. So a great way out of your own whatever is, I don't care, hang out with a squirrel. Go to one of those puppy cafes. I know they have those in Los Angeles.
They do that, or like the goat yoga.
Yes, we did that in LA last time I was there for my birthday.
That's amazing.
Yes, we did the goat yoga. I could not stop smiling, Amy. So this is what I'm saying. Like, or hiking up, Topanga, going to Malibu, like see the ocean. And there's so many ways you can find self-care. If you love to read, find things you love to read. Music, hooking into music is a beautiful way to have self-care. But I'm also I champion people that do therapy. I'm in therapy. I think it's amazing.
I've done it. It does help.
Yeah, I mean, it's really you, again, getting to know you and what makes you tick. And lately I've been, I think having community is huge. Having people that you can trust to tell your story to. So sometimes that can take the shape of an acting class, or it can take the shape of a support group, or it can take the shape of a book club. But in order for us to heal, say, any sort of wounds that we have to, tap into, or we feel regardless, and we're like, okay, I'm going to start letting myself feel things. We also have to be able to share with other people different ways that we can work through that stuff, as opposed to deny, ignore, oppress, repress, all the things that we do instead of feeling it. But once we allow ourselves to feel, I think it's helpful to talk to other people who've been there before, that have been able to say, I worked through this grief and pain this way. Or, so that's why community, I think, is so important as well, a sense of community. It helps us to know we're not alone in it.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody is going through something,
Yes. I think the self-care and community especially is what helps you get over the fear of feeling things, because you have something that's telling you it's okay. Because for a lot of people, they need like some kind of validation that it's okay to be doing this thing, at least the first couple times before they fully like settle into it.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And we help each other. The reason why sharing story in a community setting, again, whether it be a support group or a group therapy session or a class that where you can share story, when we share our own story and when we hear other people's stories, we start to realize, again, we're not alone, that we are all experiencing so much. And you easily think, oh my gosh, I can't share my story. It's embarrassing, or no one is going to understand. But then you hear 5 other people share something in their life, and you're like, oh, okay, I totally can share my story, because I gained so much from hearing their stories that someone out there, is the most important person being you'll be transformed by sharing your story. So I just think that we help each other by doing that. And I think podcasts, I mean, this is why I think it's amazing that you're doing this, Amy, because I've been getting into so many podcasts lately, and I get to hear other people's stories.
Exactly.
And it makes me realize, as human beings on this planet, for whatever reason we're here, right? In this space and time, we're in it together, and we're more similar than we are different.
No, I agree. Podcasts and listening to all of them was what inspired me to want to do something like this, and to go to the people that I know that I benefited from hearing from or having in my life or any of that, and having them share their story, because I feel like it's important and it can help somebody else. And I think because the nature of podcasts being like just straight in your ear, it can sometimes sink in that little bit more. So that's one reason why I wanted to have you on, because I feel like you have such a great message to share, and having your voice in someone's head for 30, 40 minutes is going to affect them somehow, in some, whether it's a small way or a big way, to make some kind of, I don't know, step forward or gain in their life.
Well, I appreciate you that about me. I definitely have had that experience from other podcasts. I mean, and as far as like with acting, and this because I think I was saying this back when I first started in Los Angeles, but everybody that wants to be a storyteller has everything inside of them they need to do that, whether that be as an actor, as a writer, as someone doing podcasts, or someone doing, telling story through their music, or telling story through dance or painting or sculpting, any of that. Like, the world needs that, because we need more understanding of each other, and storytelling, again, like I said, it helps transform the person telling it and the people listening to it. And so I'm 100% on board.
So, because you've given great recommendations in class and all of that, what are some of your like key ways that you would use to help settle yourself or that have helped you throughout your life trying to work towards something? Do you have any advice for anybody about little ways they could do it themselves?
Work toward
working towards overcoming your fear and pursuing their their goals.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I'm laughing because, there isn't a secret recipe. One thing I will say is that when you feel that thing inside you, that urge, that whisper, that gut feeling, that's like, do the thing, whatever the thing is for you, whether that be write the book, call the guy or the girl, start the business, do stand up, do create your own whatever, fill in the blank, your own candles. I don't care. If you have that thing inside you and you know that you've been brushing it aside, or you've been listening to your ego or your left brain say stuff like, oh, it's been done before. Oh, they're not going to want more of that. Oh, it's already been done. Yours isn't, someone else is doing it better. All those things, that's just resistance rearing its ugly head and telling you to not follow your passion. So anytime you decide, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this leap of faith in myself, and I'm going to do the thing that I know deep inside me I really want to do, there's going to be a period where you just have to have faith and you have to take the leap. And I can honestly say there will be moments when it's uncomfortable, but I think the more we can say, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm doing the thing that sets my soul on fire, that's way better than being uncomfortable, doing the thing that you resent and hate getting up in the morning to do day after day after day after day.
Oh, 100%, yes.
It's like there's going to be elements of all things that aren't awesome all the time. So why not do the thing that at least is just makes you feel excited about being alive? There's going to be hard stuff in any path you take. So, that I guess just if someone's questioning, should I do the thing? The way to do it, unfortunately, there's no simple recipe. You just got to do it. So I read a quote not that long ago that said, if you want to find your voice, you got to use it. Right? So,
oh, yeah.
You got to use it. If you want to hear your voice, if you want to find your voice, use it. So I always say start with a class. Like you find people that are already at a mastery level doing the thing that you want to do and learn from them. Don't go it alone. Learn from other people doing the thing and then just take the leap. And like I said, have community, have support, have other people in your life that you can be vulnerable, that you feel safe to be vulnerable with, saying, I'm doing this thing. Because there will certainly be people in your life that will be naysayers.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you'll never make money at that, or no. And I'm like, if we can listen to that, or we can just say, you know what, right now, I'm not going to have those people in my life. I'm only going to have people in my life at this moment in time that support the thing that I'm doing. I mean, I've had to, unfortunately, like there's certain relationships that I just can't have in my life right now because it's just negative all the time. And it's not where I want to put my energy, No,
you have to make sure that you're okay and you're following what you need to do. Because if you're inviting people who have like a negative aura about them or whatever into your life right then, you're hurting you, but you're also hurting them because you're giving them an outlet for being negative where they could work on something else to not be. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And their negativity is just them it's just fear, right?
Yep.
It's just fear because maybe they get nervous by that you're doing that thing because there's the thing that they know they want to do that they're sitting on. So
Yep.
At the end of the day, it's that thing of not taking it personally, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and knowing that if someone's, giving you backlash or, trying to put down your idea or put down you going for something else in your life. I just had a conversation with someone in my family today who, again, like by my, and by my definition, she's already successful and she's a teacher and she's doing amazing things teaching kids. And I'm like, how do you do it? You have so much patience. Oh my gosh. And she's like, just today was like, you know what? I don't think I want to be a teacher anymore. I think I want to open a wellness retreat. somewhere. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, she's like, I just want to do, and it's scary for her because she has a husband and kids, and, that would not be just an easy step for her.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge. But she's like, I think this is what I want. Like, this is what's calling me. I'm like, listen, I support you 100%. And any way that I can back her up, I will, because I think she's amazing and I think she can do it. And she hasn't been fully happy, fulfilled. Like, she knows that where she's been in her life isn't how she wants to spend all of her days, So why not? Life is short.
And it will, if she can find a way to do the thing that's what will make her happy, that she's like, this is what I think I was made to do, it will affect her kids, it will affect her husband, and it will like bring that energy towards everyone else in her life.
Yes. And that's the thing. The more fulfilled we are individually and feeling good, then the people that we touch in our lives, we can help them feel good. And it really is that ripple effect,
I had asked people on Instagram, like, what's a project you really wanted to work on and why haven't you done it? And a lot of it the response that I got was just, I'm afraid. And my only response as someone who has always been a very anxious, afraid person was that I had to learn how to put aside the fear of whatever it was, whether it was being embarrassed or all of that, to just make the thing, because I realized that feeling of making the thing and doing the thing and all of that made whatever like other negative emotions I would associate with it not matter as much at the end if I could just like power through to it.
Absolutely. And the thing is, here's the thing that what you inspired by saying what you just said is that we're going to feel afraid. We're going to feel afraid. And so for me, I just go now, instead of trying to resist that I'm feeling afraid or deny the nerves, it's just like, I'm going to bring them along with me. You know what? Nervousness, you actually are the same physiological response as excitement. So I think body, mind, soul, you saying that you're nervous means that we're on the right track. It's more like Stephen Pressfield says that in his book, The War of Art. When you have that feeling of like, oh my goodness, that your heart starts to beat faster, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like jumping off a cliff into the river, right? See everybody else jumping. At least here in Atlanta, there's the Chattahoochee River, and there's areas where you go down the river and people can go up on these cliffs and jump off. And there's all that fear that at least for me, because I'm kind of afraid of heights.
Yeah, same.
There's all this fear and this mental chatter, and my heart rate goes up, and it's like, oh my gosh. But then once I make the leap, I'm laughing and I'm having so much fun, and it's exciting and it's exhilarating and it's all those things. And so I've just kind of learned, and same with like doing stand-up or improv. Gosh, or anytime you're in a big audition and you're in front of people, it's very rare that you're not going to feel those things that we call fear. Right? But if we can start to reframe it, that it's not a bad feeling, it's just the feeling of aliveness when that happens when we're doing something exciting or something that we know is going to grow us, right?
100%, yes. You need that. You hear people say it all the time. It's like you lean into things that give you that feeling, because that's what your body is resisting, because it's afraid to want it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're afraid of what will happen if you get the thing or you do the thing, and so I get that like tight chest feeling anytime I'm starting to do something I know I really enjoy.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, hey, puppy.
The dogs are barking.
Hey, they're welcome.
Yes, I think they liked what you said. But I agree. I think those feelings, a lot of times, like you're like, ooh, I'm just going to use stand-up, because stand-up was always something that when I started doing it, and even if I every once in a blue moon still do it, I'll always be nervous because you're putting yourself out there in such a huge way. So but now I realize, like, if I have those feelings like tight chestedness again, or like something oh, this is scary, but I know it would be good for me.
Mm-hmm.
I start to realize that's an indicator. Those fears are an indicator. It's like a green light. That's a green light.
Yes.
Like, go, I heard another podcast that I listened to. Is it okay to?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. I love Mark Groves. I don't know if you listen to him or follow him on Instagram, Create the Love. His podcast is amazing. And I don't even remember what I was going to say now about that.
It's okay.
But it's something along the lines of like, getting comfortable. Oh, I know what it was. He interviewed someone and something in the conversation about, going after the thing, right? Whatever the thing is for you, going after your heart's desire, your passion, your vocation, your calling. That he just started to realize when I'm too comfortable in my life, I'm bored and I start to get depressed or anxious or I feel stuck. He's just like, now I realize I don't want that feeling and that I want to be more comfortable in being uncomfortable. So if I'm slightly uncomfortable, meaning whatever I'm doing in my life, I'm slightly outside of my comfort zone, I'm a little bit in that area of, I don't know how this is going to go, or I don't know how it's going to be received, then he was saying that feels he's on the right path because then he feels alive. He never feels bored. He always feels, like he's challenging himself, that he's growing himself, that he's having adventures, that things are exciting. And to me, I have a lot of people in my life, in my family that, gosh, it makes me really sad, but they gave up on life while they're still alive.
Yeah.
And they feel like when I'm around them and talk to them, like they're walking zombies.
No, I understand.
Zombies are real. Like we live among them. I'm like, they're alive, but they're just resigned to, well, this is all that life is. Mm-hmm. That's what they're choosing. That's what they're choosing. And I love that idea of, I want to be more comfortable just being uncomfortable,
Yes.
And that means always doing the thing that scares you a little bit.
Yeah, that's how you grow. That's how you get anywhere else that you want to be, is trying things, doing things, and just making the choice to extend yourself in a direction just to see what happens.
Yes, absolutely. And we don't want to wait till we're on our deathbed to go, oh, I should have done the thing.
No.
Or getting like a diagnosis where, there's all those, I've read so many stories and heard personal stories of people, getting a diagnosis with a terminal disease, and then they finally start doing the thing that they always wanted to do. Them sharing their stories allows us to go, I don't have to wait till I'm on my deathbed, or I don't have to wait till I'm retired, or I don't have to wait till I get a diagnosis that says I only have 3 months to live to do the thing I want to do. Mm-hmm. I can learn my lesson from them telling me, don't wait, do it.
The only person that's telling you to, who's actually telling you to wait is yourself.
That's right.
And I think that actually might be a really good place to wrap up.
That sounds good to me, Amy.
Awesome. So, as I know that you know, my favorite way to close out the show is with a howl to the universe, because it's my favorite way of just letting go and expressing. And I know that we've done similar things in class.
I love it. I will so howl with you, woman.
Awesome. So I'm going to give us a count of 3. All right?
Uh-huh.
1, 2, 3.
That was awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
If you would like to keep up with Katelin, you can find her on Instagram at Katelin Chesna, which is also in the show notes. And I highly encourage you to go take a class with Katelin at the AMAW in Atlanta, Georgia, if you ever have the chance. Thanks for joining in our circle. Mr. Girl Cult is a bi-monthly podcast. The rest of the time, we're out running with the wolves. You can keep up with me on all social media with @Amariebythesea. Until next time, stay magic.